Welcome back to Weird Stuff in a Can, or maybe stuff in a weird can, because today I've got some clear, transparent cans of fizzy flavoured water. So yeah, today we have 4 varieties of Fizzies, a fun blend of flavour and sparkling water. No artificial colours, duh. Refreshing watermelon flavour, sweet strawberry, fruity mango, tropical lychee. And these all say flavour, not flavoured, which means that they have got some kind of natural flavourings in them. So ingredients, and I'm only going to read one because it's going to be the same except for the fruit variety in each one. Carbonated water, fructose, natural watermelon flavouring, acid, which is citric acid, preservative, potassium sorbate, acidity regulator, sodium citrate, sweeteners, sodium cyclamate, acesulfame K, sucralose. So 3 different artificial sweeteners in there, and sugar, fructose fruit sugar. Yeah, I appreciate these are not especially exciting. This is not an exciting and daring episode of Weird Stuff in a Can. This is more about the fact that these are rather strange hybrid plastic bottle cans. Probably not optimal for recycling. These I picked up in Pound Stretcher. In fact, it looks like they are made especially for Pound Stretcher because they've got that thing on there, not for the EU for some reason. Here's the nutrition information. Basically nothing except 3.6 grams of carbohydrate, all of which is sugar, and 0.01 grams of salt per 100 ml. So 3.6 grams of sugar per 100 ml, which means 300 ml has 10.8 grams of sugar in it. That's what 10.8 grams of sugar looks like. So that's the amount of sugar that is present in one of these. Just to contextualize that, it's about 2 level teaspoons or so. So I shan't be consuming all 4 of these in their totality because I only got the 1 pancreas. Anyway, these need chilling down before we can consume them. And I think to help them along, we're going to have some of these little saddle-shaped potato snacks, which you might think I'm hedging around the perimeter of Pringles, but these are not Pringles. These are Mr. Potato, possibly one of the more egregious brand knockoff things I've seen. Again, these were in Pound Stretcher, and again, 69 pence, same as the cans. Mr. Potato. Now, the Pringles character, the mustachioed Pringles character, I think he might be just called Mr. P. Maybe that is Mr. Potato. Maybe they're brothers. Actually, the funny thing about the Pringles character is he didn't have an official name, and somebody vandalised the Wikipedia page about Pringles and inserted a false factoid about his name being Julius, and that got repeated and circulated and taken as gospel. It did the whole Wikipedia site loop and ended up being taken from that false information on Wikipedia, repeated through various news articles, and then fed back to Wikipedia as a citation. There's a XKCD comic about that. Anyway, that's going to be the accompaniment for my things. So like I say, not a very exciting or daring episode of Weird Stuff in a Can today, but it can't always be weird and wonderful and slightly scary. So I'm going to chill those down. We'll be back in a moment to taste them. All right, those are now chilled. Let's get them open and have a look, or rather a taste. So I'm going to taste them in that order: strawberry, mango, lychee, watermelon. And since there is no colour to reveal, I don't think there's very much point in me making a meal of the whole opening process. I think we'll just... And there we go. So, sweet strawberry. It smells quite natural strawberry, quite like underripe strawberries for some reason. You know, it smells, there's a kind of green herbal note in there. Only slightly sparkling. I'm surprised how light the carbonation is, actually. There's something that's called Fizzies. It's not very fizzy. Anyway, flavour's quite nice on that, not cloyingly sweet. The strawberry is an interesting strawberry flavour. It tastes very natural. It should, because it's natural flavour. Fruity mango flavour. That one's really quite nice and slightly more sparkling, but a good tropical fruity mango flavour. And speaking of tropical lychee flavour. That one I don't think they've captured the lychee flavour, but I don't think you can very easily. Fresh lychees are very fragrant and very floral almost. They almost taste like rose water. Once you preserve lychee flavour, you lose something. So canned lychees, whilst they're still nice, they never taste as good as lychees. And this tastes like canned lychees rather than fresh ones. It's all right though. Refreshing watermelon flavour. Now this could be the challenging one because, as you may know, I have an aversion to the flavour of cucumber that developed in the last 5 years or so. And watermelon can sometimes trigger that, especially watermelon flavoured things, rather than actual watermelon itself. And yeah, the scent of this is a little bit challenging for me. But let's press on. Now that's interesting because it tastes nice. It's got that kind of cucumbery flavour that watermelon has, but it's not tasting bad to me. So I do wonder if this watermelon flavour might be a kind of pathway to returning to appreciating cucumber flavour. It's possible that I could kind of find my way back to appreciating the flavour of cucumbers via watermelon, I wonder. I actually think that's probably the best flavour of the lot. The mango is good, so if I had to rank these, I think it would be watermelon, mango, strawberry, lychee. The lychee one's just a bit disappointing. Anyway, it's time for Mr. Potato. Do you think maybe it's Mr. Potato Head and he's just kind of moonlighting? Well, they look, I'd say, a little bit paler than Pringles, and I think probably a little bit longer and thinner, less round. But what do they taste like? Very closely similar to Pringles. A bit more crisp and crunchy, I think, than Pringles, and seem a little bit less greasy. They've got a definitely different surface texture. They're a bit more, well, let's have a close look. I would say they're just a bit more porous and coarse in close texture. And yes, I am going to eat 4 of them all at once. Actually, not bad at all. I expected these to be inferior for some reason, just because they are a kind of knockoff. But I think I might like them a little bit more than Pringles. There's only one more thing to do, which is to mix all 4 of these flavours together and taste that. I suppose I don't really need a fresh glass. I'll just do it in the glass that had the strawberry in it. So we'll just add mango, lychee, watermelon, and stir. So that's all 4 of those flavours mixed. It's so strange. When you mix fruit flavours together like this, well, sometimes once you've mixed 4 or 5 fruit flavours together, you get something that tastes the same as any other mix of 4 or 5 fruit flavours, even if it's different fruits. In this case, what I've got is something that's really kind of indistinct. It's just really less than the flavour of any of these. It's sort of like they've cancelled each other out. Yeah, I suppose it's whatever's distinctive about any of these, all of those distinctive things have been diluted by the other drinks. You know, it's a quarter as aromatic as lychee, it's a quarter as fruity as mango, it's a quarter as sweet as strawberry, the opposite of synergy. So anyway, that was today's really tame weird stuff in a can, or rather stuff in 4 weird cans. I suppose the most notable thing about these drinks is that despite being called fizzies, they're not actually very fizzy. I hope that's been interesting. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.